Hello and welcome to the demo video for the currency converter and updater. This spreadsheet came about in a time where the exchange rates were all over the place, and people found that they had either, for example, values in dollars and needed to convert it to pounds. That one's a regular thing, whether the exchange rate's fluctuating or not. But what happened when the exchange rate was fluctuating was they had, for example, prices in pounds from 2 months ago, and they've now got a new exchange rate which is drastically different, and they want to find out what the price should still be in pounds, but obviously linked to the dollar price. So if you've got a price in pounds that you bought for in dollars 3 months ago and you want to update it to the current exchange rate, you've got to take those pound prices, work them back to the old dollar price, and then work it forward back to the new pound, back to the pound price based on the new exchange rate. So there were two things involved. So I've created the spreadsheet that'll do both of those. And the idea is, what you do is you find the column with the prices in, and you just copy that data into here, do the necessary calculations, and then take the data and copy it back, pasting over your existing data in order to update it. Let me show you how it works. Put your business name in here. This doesn't go in anywhere other than just on the spreadsheet. And then you can click over to the next tab. That will appear here. Anyhow, this is the sheet that you use. So let me just go ahead and clear all of this. I've just worked another example out to see if it worked. So I can show you how this works. What this essentially is doing, ignore this round off values for now, I'll tell you what that is, but you need to select one of these two conversion options. So the first one is to actually update one currency to another, and the second one is update the same currency. So the one currency to another means that you've got a price in US dollars, for example, and you want to convert it to pounds. That's fairly straightforward. For the sake of this example, I'm going to use the South African rand and the pound because there's a bigger difference, so you can see quite clearly what's going on. So let's just clear these figures out there for now. So if we say we want to just do what from one to another, and the base currency is the ZAR, the South African rand, you can put the code in here. This isn't looking up anywhere. It's just so that you know which currencies to use, but use a 3 or 4 letter code. And then I want to convert it into the calculated currency, which is the Great British Pound. So there we go, ZAR, that's your raw data is going to be in rands, your new data is going to be in pounds, and the new exchange rate. So what is the new exchange rate? So how many Great British Pounds could you buy for one ZAR dollar, South African rand? So I know the other exchange rate. I know how many rands I can buy for £1. So what I can do is, if you use this dark gray section at the bottom here, you can actually use this to invert a currency. So if, for example, it's 20 to 1, then the inverted currency would be that. So if I copy the inverted currency and paste using paste values, whenever you're pasting, never normal paste, always paste values, you paste values in. So now it tells me I'm converting from ZAR to GBP. I know the exchange rate, and I know what the currencies are, I'm converting one currency to another. So now if I said, for example, 500 Rand, 600 Rand, 700 Rand, I could see that's £25, £30, £35. So that's telling me what that is. So now if I copied from another spreadsheet, pasted using paste values into here, that column, then all these prices would adjust. If any of these prices go red, if there's actually anything here that's a letter or text and not a value and it doesn't recognize it, it'll tell you some of your data is not values, and you can go and you can see exactly which ones and you can correct them, because that is a common mistake that happens when exporting data. They're not actually formatted as values. Anyhow, then I can just go and copy that and paste back into the other spreadsheet. It's giving me all the conversions. The other option is, what if I had it in pounds and I've still got it in pounds, but I've got 2 different exchange rates. So then the other one is to update the same currency. So let's just change these more kind of pound figures. Put those ones in, update the currency. The base rate is still ZAR because that's what I want to check it against, and the calculated rate is still British pounds, but now I've got it into 2 exchange rates. What's the old exchange rate and what's the new exchange rate? So let's say a month or 2 ago it was 19 to 1, so that was 0.526. If we copy that one Incidentally, as I said, this gray section here doesn't do anything with the formulas. It's just to help you calculate. You still have to put them into these slots over here. And all that is this is telling me I got 19 Rand for every pound. So then this is just converting to tell me I'd actually get, basically just over 5p for every Rand. Let's just say the exchange rate now has moved up to 21. So now we've got a stronger pound. Put that in there. So now we can see that the price that was £50 a few months ago should now be £45.26 because the pound has actually increased. I'm getting more for my money against the Rand. So that is how that works. I hope that makes sense. The other one where it converts the Rand is hidden behind the scenes. I didn't want to confuse the issue, but you can see those are your new values based on what was that current, but the exchange rate now is that exchange rate. As I said, this is doing nothing, so we can remove that. The last thing on the spreadsheet, well, before we did that, if any of these change red, you put something incorrect in, maybe you put something that should be a value as not a value, or you've done something that's wrong, or the code doesn't look right or whatever. So then just correct those and just make sure you completed all yellow fields. They won't work until you've put all the completed all the yellow fields. This is the last one here, and what this means is these values here look like they're rounded, but they're actually not. So this 45.24, because I formatted it like that, it looks like 45.24, but that could be 45.2398651, whatever the case might be. So what you can do is, I didn't want to lock it down and give it out as 45.24, just in case you wanted those extra values within the decimal places. So if you were to paste this in the new spreadsheet, you'd see those would expand into larger numbers. So what I've got here is I've got a round off all values where you can select yes or no. If you select it blank, it takes it as no, and it won't do it. But if you actually say no, then it will give you the longer number, or if you say blank. But if you say yes, it still gives you the same value. It looks the same here, but it's actually not. When you paste this into a new spreadsheet, it will say 45.24 and 54.29. Whereas if you pasted that into a spreadsheet, it would say 45.23986, whatever the longer value would be. In fact, we can see if we copy that and paste values into there it is, 45.23896, etc., etc. So that's the actual number that's actually hidden behind here, but it just looks like it's formulated to the penny. Whereas if we were to say yes, round them off, and then we copy that, you see now it's 45.24 because you've rounded it off. So that's the only difference. That's a final step. It depends what value you want to export. If you're actually using these values as monetary values to sell things, I would say yes, because you don't want those extra decimal places. But yeah, that up here, I haven't put an alert color in because that you can set that at any stage and do what you want. And this down here is just to invert whatever rate you put in there. The rest of it in the middle here, that section is what's doing the calculation. So you need to make sure that is 100% correct when you're taking these figures. So yeah, I hope that makes sense to you. I hope that it helps you. And if you've now got a column in a spreadsheet somewhere and you just want to change one column from one currency to another, or you want to even keep the old column and put the new column with the new currencies in, or you've got a currency that was based on a different currency from a few months back and you want to update it, you can use this as I've shown you. But just remember to make sure you read over here which exchange rate to put in. And if you know it, pop it in. If you know the inverted exchange rate, then you can put them down here, see what the value is and put that in. Because these values, obviously, if you're using pounds to rands, you would notice a massive difference. But if you're using pounds to dollars, it will be so slight sometimes that you might not pick up, but you got the wrong way around. So please make sure you put the right things in. The spreadsheet is not linked to any external source. It's not looking at exchange rates anywhere else. It's not doing anything. It is literally just using these numbers and selections that you put in here. So make sure that they are correct. That's it. Thank you very much. All the best. Bye-bye.